Did it take me almost a year to make this dress? Yes. Did it also take me almost a year to make this video? Also yes. What are you trying to say? Hi guys, it's Rachel and welcome to Needles and Nerds. Today we're looking at my dress construction for Cinderella. As you can see here, this was me initially trying to figure out what the heck the shape of the skirt was going to be. I was just kind of using other skirts I had and materials just to kind of get an idea of the shape and the look that I wanted and how the fabric was going to flow. But apparently I got to a shape that I was satisfied with and I decided to go ahead and move on to the bodice. So this was my initial bodice pattern that I drafted. And so I was cutting it out from lining. I think I had already made some mock-ups at this point, but I had only gotten footage of me making the lining layer. So I used blue because the fabric I had gotten was silver enough, but it needed a little bit of a blue tint, especially because it kind of transitioned to a cream, and so the blue kind of helped offset that cream to maintain a silver look. And it ended up, I was pretty happy with the color and shading and everything. So this is me just going down that center front seam with the bodice. I wanted to have a point in the front. I ended up making the front a good bit shorter than I did here and not nearly as pointy because kind of the point in the movie came from the shape of the poofs and the skirt versus the actual bodice itself. So I had made it accidentally too long, but when you're making your own pattern and you're going off of your own thing, it takes a lot of experimentation, and sometimes it takes even to the finished product for you to realize what you need to adjust. But this is just, you know, normal bodice construction, going through the side seams, all of that. It's kind of hard for me to give directions, but it's really, I did princess seams. It's really any basic sort of bodice construction. And then here I have marking out where seam allowance was going to be and where I needed to cut stuff to make it fit properly. And then we have a kind of an initial look of it on my dress form of the lining layer and how it was looking. That was me being angry about having to work with this fabric. Now, don't get me wrong, this fabric itself was very nice and I really, really loved working with it. I think it was a silk, but the problem with it is Cinderella's dress is very, very, very sparkly, and honestly, I'm still... That was us having fun putting the videos we were watching in front of the camera. Quite fun. But anyways, this fabric was literally the worst to work with because I had sprayed spray adhesive on it to dump glitter on it to make it sparkly. The glitter has held on okay, but it's not nearly as sparkly as I would like it to be. But any other methods I had tried adding glitter to it made it too transparent or stiff, and it didn't have the flow to it. So I still haven't figured out how to make it properly sparkly, but it's sparkly enough right now. I'm happy enough with it. And then of course this is just me doing the same thing that I did on the lining layer, and you can see how the initial go through of the actual bodice fabric looks on top of that lining layer. Quite beautiful, if I do say so myself. That shine is really nice. And then there's all the glitter residue from sewing with just loose glitter. Welcome to us not knowing how to film sewing in my old apartment. This was a fun time. Ah yes, the sleeves. The sleeves were the worst. I hated the sleeves, and this was me finally figuring out how to make the sleeve. And by me finally figuring it out, I mean Mindy doing the mock-up for me after I was telling her how I wanted it to work and how I hoped it would work. And we kind of together, I didn't want to work on it. I knew how to do it, but I also didn't know how to do it. And so Mindy helped immensely, and helped me create the right shape for the sleeves. So this is me. I had the outer layer, which was a cotton with a sateen weave, And then I believe I just put normal white cotton on the inside, or I might have double layered it, I'm not sure which one, just to add a little bit of stiffness to it so that it would hold its shape better. The puffs needed to be able to stand up on their own, but I didn't want it too stiff because in the movie they look much more like puffs than like stiff interfacing. So this was kind of my compromise, where I used that cotton sateen, which was thick, but I added lining layers to it to give it a little bit more of stiffness without sacrificing that puff aspect of it. These sleeves are literally the bane of my existence, but I'm so happy with how they turned out. They're so pretty. They're exactly like the movie. I've never seen someone come up with a pattern like this, quite like this before. As you may have seen in the analysis video, Disney tried and they got kind of close, but also really missed the mark. So that's me creating them. It's the two sides. One had a little bit closer. One had a smaller opening for the outside and a larger opening to match the bodice, because I kind of made the arm opening a little too big on the bodice, but you know, we're here now and it's where it is. And then that's me attaching the sleeves to the bodice. It looks like I had already added some boning into the dress as well, more than likely to mostly keep the point down and the front of the bodice straight. I usually am not putting a whole lot of boning into my bodices anymore, just because I found usually the proper undergarments takes care of any structure issues, as opposed to needing it in the outer garment. But there's me trying it on. Look at it. It looks so nice. I had worked so hard on it. And now this is me gathering so much tulle. Okay, so here it is with the tulle underskirt, because I thought the tulle underskirt was going to make the right shape. This is me trying it on, experimenting, and trying on skirts with pocket hoops as well, to see how the draping would look with both and with the bodice that I had. But I decided that pocket hoops was going to give me the correct shape that I needed while maintaining the right flow, the right volume level, the way that it swished. So from there, I ended up starting working on the petticoats, and you can see what happened next. So here we have one of the many problems that you end up running into when you're gathering stitches, is some of your stitches might pop. Yay! So I have a few fixes for this. Basically, what you can do, since I don't have both of them broken, that top one, I can still utilize that to get the gather. Alternatively, what I might do is kind of fold it and gather it by hand if I absolutely can't. And what I would do is I would pin both sides, and honestly maybe even stitch down both sides just to make sure the other gathers won't fall out. And then I would just pleat it there, gather it there, and then just stitch it down. It would be a little bit wonky, but this is 5 yards of fabric, and I'm not going to take out all of the gathering stitches just to fix this little bit. So I just wanted to let you know, if your gathering stitches pop, it's not the end of the world. Alright, I went very slow and careful, and I did it. So fortunately I didn't have to do the weird fold. Okay, so I lied. Some of it is still acting a little funky, so what I'm going to do here, this is how it's wanting to lay. So just as I'm stitching it, I'm just pushing it together so it sits more as gathers. So then as I'm securing the gathers, it'll just hold itself in place. It's fine. So this section is still giving me a little bit of trouble, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since I'm stitching on the rest of the waistband now, what I'm going to do is gather it with pins onto it to make sure that it'll all fit. Aw, look at me a year ago thinking I was going to be making a full tutorial video. Aw, that's adorable. Yeah, so the underskirt, it had to be part blue, part white, because again, it transitioned to a weird cream, so the blue offset that. And this is me putting it all together and seeing how I liked it, seeing how it moved, just testing it all out, and it moves so pretty, and it's so nice. Again, I made some changes to the front that I didn't really get any footage of because it was last minute before we went to Disney, but I liked the last minute changes, and I'll put some pictures of the final product, of the pictures that we got at Disney World. I'm sorry we don't really have any footage of the final. That's me dancing around, just kind of testing it, being able to compare it with the animation and seeing how it moves, and I was absolutely thrilled. So yeah, this was me talking about that process after editing this like almost a year ago. So thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully our videos are gonna be getting a lot better. I mean, I think our videos already are a lot better. I've learned a lot just from playing around with editing, but I didn't want this video to go to waste either. So here it is in its full weird cringeness. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe learned something. I'm not sure how much you could have learned from just those 10 minutes of kind of a rush through clip, but it's very cathartic for me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to us on Instagram. We're there at Needles and Nerds. And then also subscribe here. Why not? You're here already. If you like this video, honestly, it's only going to get better from here. So stick around. Ring the little bell. Why not? And we'll see you in the next video.